Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hey, what is up guys? Horror Nights Fan 13 here, and it's been a minute since I've shot a video on this couch. I'm at home. I'm in San Diego. Why am I at home in San Diego? Unfortunately, not for much longer. By the time you guys see this video, I'm going to be back in Arizona. For the past month or so, I've been in San Diego for winter break. We have a month-long break between the end of the fall semester and the beginning of the spring semester. So, I've been in San Diego. It's 2018 now. Happy New Year, by the way. That means new year, new speculation, and I will confirm it right here, right now in this introduction. This is gonna be a bit longer of an introduction. I'm gonna confirm right now, I'm coming back for 2018 speculation. I know I've already confirmed it like way back in 2017, but yes, I will be around for the 2018 speculation and updating season for Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. I'm pretty excited to be back. This is year number 4. 4 years of doing this. That's pretty crazy. 2015, 2016, 2017, all done, all in the past. For the most part, 2017, I still got a little beef with 2017. I gotta get my stuff together for 2017. And now we're moving on to 2018. It's gonna be way after I post this video though. I haven't even thought about spec for 2018 yet. Alright, shut up from my rambling. I'm gonna take a quick minute to apologize really quickly. Yes, it's 2018. It is January. The event ended November 4th. Actually, November 5th at like 2 a.m., but November 4th, Halloween Horror Nights ended. And I'm slacking. I've taken a while on this. Why? I've been super busy. College is not easy. Let me tell you that. College is not easy. It takes up a lot of your time. And when you have a roommate that lives in your room, you really don't want to do this while they're in there. And it's hard to find a time when they're out. So it's like... it takes a while, man. And the vlog for closing night, yes, if you don't remember, I posted a video way back to confirm that I would be attending Halloween Horror Nights on closing night, November 4th. I did attend that night. It was tons of fun, and I did shoot a vlog. However, I've been taking a while. Why? It's a long vlog. I shot so much footage that night because I was with so many of the other HHN updaters that I couldn't stop filming. It was tons of fun. It was a great night. I've got loads of footage on my computer. I'm about a quarter of the way through editing. I was super busy with, I was super busy with Quidditch, finals, regular schoolwork in general that I just didn't have enough time then. And over winter break, I thought, you know, maybe I'd have enough time to sit down, edit the vlog. Nah. I came back to my job at Tilly's and I just worked. And this past week, I haven't been working this whole week, but it's my last week of break. I've been trying to see as many friends as I can. I'm shooting this really quickly before I actually go and hang out with friends, see some of my family for the last time in quite a while, because I'm leaving San Diego tomorrow. That really sucks, but, you know, by the time you guys see this, I'm going to be back in Arizona. So, alright, ramble done, apology done, I'm sorry. It's all gonna happen. Y'all know I'm a slacker, but you still love and support me anyway, and I still love you, and thank you for all of your support, even though I'm a slacker. Probably the worst updater out there because I just, you know, I take forever. You guys still love me though, so that's pretty great. Alright, wow, Blake, you've been rambling for 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Dang, that's pretty impressive. Alright, so what is this video, Blake? It's my Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2017 review. I'm going to be reviewing a year that a lot of people hated, but I actually thought was pretty good. So, before I get into this review, please, as always, show your support. Like the video if you like it. Comment what you thought of 2017. Comment, hey, Blake, we accept your flaws as a human being and as an updater and appreciate your content no matter what. That would make me feel all warm and fuzzy. Please. And subscribe if you want to keep up with updating through the 2018 and future seasons. I'm hyped. Follow social media at HHNFan13 on Twitter, at Horror Nights Fan 13 on Instagram. Instagram has not been active for quite some time. Twitter, I'm always pretty active on Twitter. I've been taking a little break for a while, enjoying the break, but I'm going to be coming back to Twitter, I'm going to be coming back to videos, and I'm hitting it hard. I'm hitting the scene hard. Hope you're all ready for it. And without further ado, let's get into the video. If you haven't kept up with my Twitter or anything, shameless plug at HHNFan13. Already plugged it once in the intro, like no more than a minute ago. I'm gonna plug it here again. If you haven't kept up with it, you'll know that I went to the event 2 times this year. It's the first time since 2015 that I've gone to the event twice. Did not get to experience 2016 2 times. This year I got to experience it twice. The sole reason for me coming back for closing night, you know, I talked about it a lot on Twitter. I was saying like, yo, I'm gonna come back for closing night. Me and my friend are planning a trip. It took months to plan this trip, and the week before she bailed on me. No shade at you, Sierra. Still love you. No shade. But she bailed on me, and John had tweeted something about, you know, like this closing night being especially sentimental to him. Gave me the impression that it was going to be his last year. Y'all know I idolize John. Y'all know he's been my idol for like the past 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 6 going on 7 years of my life. That's pretty intense. So, I didn't get to meet him my first trip. And I always love meeting John. I love thanking him for what he does because that's just my thing. I just like telling him, hey, thank you. You've influenced so much of my life. I appreciate you. Didn't meet him the first trip. The second trip, ran into him a couple times. Got to meet him, got to talk with him, got to thank him for doing an interview for a paper for one of my English classes last semester. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, I went on closing night. It was tons of fun. This is my review of kind of both nights of how I went. Every night I followed the same game plan. I did not have front of the line for either of the nights. My first year going with general admission, and I did a pretty good job. So let's get into it. We're going to just go throughout the order of my night. So my first year not doing the opening ceremony either. I started off both nights with early entry. What differs from the closing night trip to the first trip was the first trip we went straight down to the metro sets and we got in line for Saw the Games of Jigsaw. Closing night, I knew it wouldn't be as popular, so we had a little bit more time to go around. You'll see it in the vlog. I talk about how we snuck into Wizarding World of Harry Potter right before. It was so closing night. It was me, my sister, who went with me both times, and my friend Garrison, who I have not been to the event with since 2013. That was a very long time ago. The first night I went with my sister, my dad's girlfriend, and her son. It was his first year of the event, so kind of a special moment to bring someone to the event for the first time and have them be coming in the future. So yeah, so closing night, we snuck into Wizarding World of Harry Potter because we didn't put on the wristbands. You had the wristbands on until like mid-December. I had my 2 wristbands on till mid-December, but I cut them off because I had to go back to work. God, this is going to be a long video. I'm already rambling. I haven't even gotten to the first maze yet, and I'm 3 minutes in. Shut up, Blake. Quit rambling. Get into the video. Yeah, so we snuck into Wizarding World. Me and Garrison rode Forbidden Journey. My sister went and got us some butterbeer. Then we did the walk to the back lot. We walked down to the back lot and we did it in this order. It went Saw the Games of Jigsaw, American Horror Story, Roanoke, and Ash vs. Evil Dead. So, first maze, Saw the Games of Jigsaw. I was not very hyped about this. I have my phone up here because I left my handy dandy notebook back in Arizona. So, I have to deal with having my phone for the review. So, where I put Saw on my anticipation list was second to last. It was very low on my anticipation list. I had watched all the Saw movies in preparation, and I wasn't super impressed with them. I didn't really think it was going to be a good maze. I was proven wrong. A lot of people hated this maze, but a lot of them are also biased because they went through the 2009 and 2010 Saw mazes. I was not around for those mazes. So this was kind of my first view of Saw in the event, and I thought it was really well done. I thoroughly enjoyed Saw. It was like, it had really good scares in there. The sets were alright. It wasn't the best maze set design wise. A lot of the scares kind of felt like cheap because it was just like distraction by the traps, and then we would get a pigman to pop out. But I got really distracted really easily. So those pigmen got me a lot. I reviewed Saw very well. I said it was very good, way better than I thought it would be. In both of my vlogs, I said it was pretty good. I got fairly decent scares in all of those mazes. I don't really have any exceptional memories from those mazes, or from that maze, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. And for Saw the Games of Jigsaw, I give it a 4 out of 5, which is a lot higher than a lot of people would rate it. I did this 3 times over the course of the event. It was really good. The first 2 run-throughs I had were phenomenal because the cast was just getting in. There was nobody in there. I got tons of scares. The last run through I did later on in the night of closing night, it was alright. Wasn't the best one, but it was pretty decent. So, moving on to now American Horror Story Roanoke. It was alright. Roanoke, as I said, is the only season of American Horror Story that I've really enjoyed. Granted, I've only seen 2 seasons. I've seen Murder House and I've seen Roanoke. I did not like Murder House. I did very much like Roanoke. I don't know why, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching Roanoke. The maze was alright. Like, the sets were some of the best of this year. The set design of that maze were just phenomenal. The prosthetic makeup, the character design, it was pretty crazy. The scares were just lacking, though. I never really got... I think I got 1, maybe 2 scares in the entire time. I went through that maze twice through both of the trips, or just 2 times in total. So once at the first trip, once at the last trip. It was alright. It was not the best maze. No real special memories in there. The ending that John had talked about, like the surprise ending, it was really not that cool. It was just the giant, like, Blair Witch stick figures. It was alright. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It's the best American Horror Story maze that's been at the event, but not my favorite. I gave American Horror Story Roanoke a 3 out of 5. And now we move on to Ash vs. Evil Dead. Did this maze 3 times. I know, that's a shocker. I only did it 3 times because I ran into a fan and a friend. Her name is Priscilla. Shout out, Priscilla. I know you're going to comment. You're probably going to be the first one to watch this because you're, like, my biggest fan ever. You're probably going to text me, like, right after you see this and be like, oh, you shouted me out, I love you, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I ran into her at the event, and we did Saw together. That's why I did the 3rd run through of Saw, and we did Ash vs. Evil Dead together, along with the rest of my group. So, Ash vs. Evil Dead. This was 2nd highest on my anticipation list. Why? I'm a huge fan of the show. I'm a huge fan of Ash vs. Evil Dead. I loved the show. I thought it was great. I love Bruce Campbell. It influenced 2 different scripts that I wrote this past semester for different script writing classes. It's a really good show. I thought it had tons of maze potential, and the maze sucked. The worst maze of this year, by far. I was highly, highly, highly disappointed by this maze. It is just subpar. I did not enjoy it whatsoever. I walked through the entire time with a straight face. I was like, oh, maybe it can be promising. I went through the trailer and I'm like, oh. I'm like, oh, this could be promising. And then I start going outside and it's just black hallways. Black hallways everywhere. There was no maze. This is the most disappointing maze I have ever been through at Halloween Horror Nights. Yeah. It disappointed me more than This Is the End. Granted, I did not have high hopes for This Is the End. But Ash vs. Evil Dead disappointed me. And I am very, very sad about it. I talked with John about it on Twitter, and he even admits that he was pretty disappointed by Ash. It ranked the lowest of all the mazes. I'm pretty sure what ranked below it was the Walking Dead attraction. He said it ranked 7 out of 8. And I'm pretty sure what was 8 was Walking Dead attraction. But 7, the lowest rated maze of the year. It's just, it had so much potential, and it fell so short of greatness, and it is a very, very disappointing thing to say, because I was very much looking forward to it. I had friends who told me on the inside that it will probably be one of the best mazes of the year. And then I did it, and everyone agrees. Mostly everyone. I've met some people who thoroughly loved Ash vs. Evil Dead. But I hate it. This maze gets possibly the lowest rating I have ever given a maze. Why? It wasn't as bad the first time. I gave it a 1 out of 5 after the first trip. It got worse the second trip. Characters were removed. There were no scares pretty much at all. It was just even worse than the first time around. Gets the lowest score I've ever given a maze in one of my reviews. I think I even scored This Is the End higher than this one. This one gets a 0.1 out of 5. Really disappointing, and I'm very upset by it. Now we are moving on to our fourth maze of the event. I moved from the back lot up to the lower lot. And on the lower lot we had two mazes. We had Insidious Beyond the Further, based off of all 4 chapters of Insidious. And we had my highest anticipated maze of all time, pretty much. I had been waiting for this one and I was anticipating it so much. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. First maze I did on the lower lot was Insidious Return to the Further. This was for both trips. I did Insidious twice on the first trip, and I did Insidious once on the second trip. So, Insidious on the first trip, very good run-throughs. Very good run-throughs. I mean, actually, no. One was good, one was and then the final trip, the next run-through was very, very good. So, it's not the best Insidious maze. In my opinion, it's actually the worst Insidious maze. I put this one at the bottom 3, this one, Insidious Beyond the Further, Insidious Into the Further, and then one of the near-perfect mazes in Horror Nights history, Insidious Return to the Further, 2015. This maze just didn't have the feel of Insidious, and I can say the same thing about Chapter 4. I've seen Chapter 4, it premiered last week. It didn't have the same feel of Insidious as I hoped it would, which really sucks, but, you know, oh well, it's a January horror movie. It's not really going to do well, but yeah. It didn't feel like the Insidious mazes of past. I don't know why, but it just didn't. It was plagued full with black hallways, which usually is the case for Insidious, but none of the scenes with black hallways were in the Further. They were just kind of boring transition scenes that didn't really fit. There were no scares in them either, so that kind of dropped them a lot lower. Not as bad as the use of them in Ash vs. Evil Dead, but not up there with good usage like The Exorcist or The Shining. Yes, I like the black walls in The Shining. I'll get to that in a minute. It wasn't as good. The representation of Chapter 4, I can see it from the movie to the maze. The representation of Chapter 4 was very, very good. The representation of the rest of the movies just was not there. And it is thoroughly disappointing because those movies have so much potential. It was like one tiny little room for every other movie that was not Chapter 4. The way I portion the maze, 50% Chapter 4, 25% Black Walls, 25% Chapters 1 through 3. It's just, wasn't the best Insidious maze. My sister loved it, the GP loved it, my dad loved it, they all rated it like the #1 maze. It just didn't do it enough for me. They all said it was even better than 2015's. I said, no way. That's not even close to 2015's. It lacked the proper finale as well. That was something that disappointed me thoroughly. It did not have a proper finale, which Chapter 3, 2, and 1 all had together in the 2015 maze. I do have to admit, I did get one really, really good scare in there that I talked about in my vlog. It was the final scare from The Man Who Can't Breathe. We were just walking through the black hallways at the end. I had, like, gotten scared by Darth Maul, the red-faced demon. I call him Darth Maul because he looks like Darth Maul from Star Wars. So I call him Darth Maul. Darth Maul popped out and I got a little jump. And I was a little off guard and I saw the exit. So I'm like, okay, I'm going towards the exit. Man Who Can't Breathe pops out like this. My legs buckled from under me. I crippled to the floor and ran out. I've never had that happen to me before. I just crippled and had to run. I don't know why I did. But it was just cripple, run. Like, get out of there. You are freaked. Go. It's weird. But it was a really good scare. The rest of the scares from that maze didn't really happen. I gave Insidious Beyond the Further a 3 out of 5 for the year. It was alright. It was an alright maze. Not the best. But it was alright. Moving on to my favorite maze, not just of the year, but of all time. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I had very, very high hopes for this maze. And a lot of people who had gone weeks before me had said, Blake, this maze is terrible, or Blake, this is the greatest maze I have ever seen done at Halloween Horror Nights. So, I was slightly skeptical when going in. I had very high hopes and I was hoping to not be disappointed. Did not disappoint. This maze, I did it the second most amount of times I've ever done a maze in Horror Nights history. The first most is Halloween Michael Myers Comes Home in 2015 with a record number for me of 5 run-throughs through 2 nights. This one got 4 run-throughs through 2 nights. I was hoping to get 5, but wasn't able to get there. So 2 times the first time, 2 times the second time. It never disappointed. Granted, whenever I went through this maze, there was never a conga line in it. I was always alone in The Shining. I was either like the first person to go through or the last part of the group. And my method is when I'm in the last part of the group, I walk very, very slowly and enjoy the details. So by the time I'm going through the hedge and going into the next room and I see the red rum door, I'm walking through and the people have already gone through the red rum door. They're already going to the scares, to the all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy room. And then I'm taking my sweet time, creating a distance so that the characters have enough time to reset and get ready to pop out and scare me and my group. It worked flawlessly every time. I've never been more scared in a maze. This scared me more than The Exorcist. And that's saying something. From the second I walked in, not even from when I walked in. When I stood out at that facade, heard John Murdy's voiceover, and just heard the music and saw the ominous lighting coming off of the hedge maze, I had a sense of dread and excitement within me. I was so stoked to be going into the Shining maze. I was so stoked to see one of my favorite horror movies of all time represented in maze form. I was excited to see how John pulled it off. But I was also scared out of my mind because I just had such a sense of dread that not only that this was going to scare the crap out of me, but that it was going to suck. Blew all my expectations out of the water. Absolutely just phenomenal. All the detail from the movies was in the maze. Wow, it was just incredible. I don't think I've ever gotten every single scare in one maze before, but this maze, I think I got every single possible scare. I got from the first Jack in the... Trying to think if it was in... Yeah, there was a black hallway before the all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy room. From that, all the way up until the final black hallway before the frozen Jack in the hedge maze, I got all those scares every single time I went through. It was just incredible. It was incredible. I did not think the Mummy venue would be a good place for this. I was wrong. It worked so well. I don't know how, but it worked. The sets felt huge in there. It all looked like it was ripped straight from the film. You go into the hallway right at the start and you see Jack sitting there on the typewriter. That was crazy cool to see. I think my favorite scene had to be the all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy little hallway where it was all just written along the walls, on the curtains. Even had like the little board false and Jack would pop out. It was so crazy cool. The detail was insane. It was just a beautiful representation of the film. The black hallways even worked. They were done the same way as The Exorcist was done, so that was just... It worked incredibly well, because they wouldn't just be normal black hallway transitions. They would have scares in the black hallways, and the scares would push you towards the next room, and then you'd be in the next room, and then you'd just keep going through the hotel. It was beautiful. It was the best maze I've ever been through at Halloween Horror Nights. If I could give it higher than a 5 out of 5, I would. Because it was just so insanely good. I loved The Shining. My favorite maze of all time. My only gripe with it was the black hallways in the hedge maze scene. This is where they were not needed. I believe we could have done hedge scenes like what we had with the black hallways, just going through the hedges and then have Jack popped out. I don't think it was needed to have black hallway transitions, but it still was done incredibly well. The makeup, or not the makeup, the masks were just phenomenal. Like, it genuinely did look like Jack, and it was freaky. They looked like Jack the whole way through, and it was great. And then you'd get to the frozen section, and you'd see, like, the frozen pieces dangling off of his face, and, oh, man. Best maze I've ever been through, hands down. Favorite maze of Halloween Horror Nights from 2012 through 2017. 5 out of 5. I wish I could give it more than that, but I don't want to, break the scale. 5 out of 5. moving on to the upper lot, we go to the Terror Tram, the Titans of Terror Tram. It was a Terror Tram. It's the same thing every year, pretty much. The only section I really enjoyed was Freddy's section, because they just seemed to be having fun with it. Those characters had a really good time up there. But everything else was not that great. This is one of the worst Terror Trams ever for me only because the very end was not packed full of chainsaws like it usually is. It was just Leatherface. And that is just not fun. The one time I did enjoy the Terror Tram a lot was I did the walk. The final Terror Tram of Halloween Horror Nights 2017, and I did it with tons of other HHN people. I filmed pretty much all of it. You are going to see a lot of it in the vlog. If you have not already seen it, I have no clue when I'm going to upload this. Maybe before the vlog, maybe after the vlog, probably after the vlog, because I'm lazy, and I've got one project, and I've got to get it done. So yeah, Terror Tram. It was alright. Not my favorite Terror Tram. Freddy section was really the only good one. Not really a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street. Texas Chainsaw Massacre section was pretty good, but the Freddy section was the best one to me. Those characters were just having fun with it, and they looked pretty cool, so yeah, not a big fan of the Titans of Terror Tram hosted by Chucky. Especially the ending video where you were going back to the park and Chucky threatened to kill everyone on the tram unless they promoted his film. That was cheesy and stupid. From one Titan to another, we jump to the Titans of Terror maze. A really good maze. Phenomenal maze. So, I had speculated long before that this maze was going to be The Conjuring. The Conjuring was scrapped from the lineup, and it was replaced with something that was fairly easy since this was already planned for Terror Tram. So, the Titans of Terror maze. I thought it was really good. I loved the home haunt idea that John had come up with for it, but it didn't really translate to the rest of the maze. It was just, oh, we're going through scenes from the movies. I thought we were going to be like seeing the child's nightmares and seeing everyone attacking the child in his nightmares. I thought that would have been a much better take on it, but I don't think they had the time nor the money to plan for that, so they just reused the old scenes and set pieces and created a mashup of the three slashers. I still thought it was phenomenal. I got plenty of good scares in there. I went through this maze 3 times throughout the course of the event. Once the first night and twice the second night. And it was really, really, really good. It was on point every night. The cast was always on point. The first time I actually asked like the maze host, like, hey, would you mind like holding us to the side for a couple minutes and I can shoot some pictures of the facade? You probably saw that in the vlog if you watched that vlog from the first trip, because I shot a few pictures. I chose the best one, I think, of the facade, best 1 or 2. It was really nice of him to let me shoot some pictures of the facade and then let me go through the maze afterwards. So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, it was really good. The Freddy section was awesome. I loved the repurposing of the Freddy snake. The attack snake only got me one of the times because every other time it got my sister or whoever was behind me. The Jason section, I got 1 or 2 good scares in the Jason section, but not a whole lot. I've never been a Friday the 13th fan, really, so I'm not a huge fan of this section. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre section was, I think it was like the shortest one. It was not very good in terms of what I've seen for Texas Chainsaw at the event, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. The scenic looked really good. I think the most fun I had in that maze was going into the first Texas Chainsaw room where they had Grandpa hitting the girl over the head. Chop Top would chant, "Grandpa, Grandpa," and he tried to get everyone else to chant in on it, so I would join in on the chant with Chop Top. He loved it. Grandpa loved it. Leatherface would come out of nowhere and just be like, "Grandpa, Grandpa." It was fun. It was a fun maze, and it was a good replacement for The Conjuring. Not as good as Freddy vs. Jason, but still a very, very good maze. Top-notch replacement. I give this one a 5 out of 5 as well. And to the final maze that I did at the event. The Horrors of Blumhouse. This one was lowest on my anticipated list. It scored second to lowest on my ranking. It was not a very good maze. It was just, I don't know. I never really had a good run through. I did 2 run throughs of it. The first time I really had a gripe with it because I got stuck in the Sinister section for like a good 2 or 3 minutes, just standing there in a blank hallway doing nothing. And it was incredibly stupid. It took me out of the maze feel. I went through the rest of the maze with a straight face. I got one scare the entire time I was in Blumhouse through both nights. One scare. And it was Bagul popping through the screen. That's it. The Purge Gauntlet, it was just a rehash of last year's Gauntlet. The Happy Death Day section was alright. I have not seen Happy Death Day. I heard it was an okay film. I don't really want to see it, so oh well, but yeah, so I don't really want to see it. It was an alright section. It was the longest one, definitely. Sinister, it didn't work for me. It did not work at all. I don't know why, it didn't work as a maze. Mostly because all that was there was just static figures, and then, oh, look, there's Bagul. Oh, look, there's Bagul. Static figures, woo! Okay, there's Bagul. Not a very good maze. Not very good at all. Highly disappointing. Give this one a 1.5 out of 5. The one good thing to come out of Horrors of Blumhouse, though, was that I walked out from the closing night, and as I'm going through, you'll see it in the vlog if you haven't already seen it. I don't know when this is going up, like I've said, but so I'm just walking through with my camera, just, you know, doing the vlog thing, reviewing the maze, like, oh yeah, it was a bit better of a run through than the last time. Not one of my favorites, not one of the good ones. And then I just look off to the distance, because I never really look at the camera when I'm vlogging, and I see him. I see John Murdy standing right there, and I just say, like, Kenzie, we need to stop. I have to stop. And I just stop the recording, and then I just go and talk with John. So that's the one good thing that came out of it. It put me in the right place at the right time. Got to talk with John. That was really, really cool. Yeah, 1.5 out of 5. So now I'm going to give my maze rankings for the year, starting from number 7. Oh yeah, I did the Walking Dead attraction on closing night too. It sucked. The end. It was just not good compared to what they did in 2016 with it, which in 2016 it had double the characters. This time had like the same regular amount of daytime characters, and it was alright. Okay, so number 7, Ash vs. Evil Dead at the bottom of the list. Number 6, The Horrors of Blumhouse. Number 5, American Horror Story, Roanoke. Number 4, Insidious, Beyond the Further. Number 3, Saw the Games of Jigsaw. Number 2, Titans of Terror. And number 1, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And now I will talk about the scare zones of the event. I don't have much to say about the scare zones. Halloween was probably my favorite. So, the first scare zone I ever got to experience of the night, I believe, was Halloween I got to experience, and it was okay. The characters were cool, but it was just lacking any environment and feel to it. It was just boring, pretty much. I don't really know what to say. This is just not a good year for scare zones. Moving to the trip to the backlot, we had the Toxic Tunnel scare zone. I went through this one a few times because, you know, I have to go back to the backlot and then back up and then back to the backlot and back up. It was alright. It was alright. It was just the tunnel. What more can you do with it? It's a tunnel. Toxic Tunnel's a tunnel. Put tunnel workers in there. Cool. Have them walk through with strobe lights. Cool. My one complaint about there, quit the strobes going so hard. I can't see in there. I'm trying to walk. I don't want to fall. I don't want people to have a seizure. It's just, no. Wow. This video is going to be like longer than my last vlog. Holy crap. I'm sorry, guys. This is a very long review. Yikes! Because good thing it's a one continuous take, so I don't have to chop down any of this. Woohoo! Yeah, so Toxic Tunnel wasn't that great. Urban Inferno. I had high hopes for Urban Inferno, and it just was not there for me, which is really unfortunate. I never really was impressed. I never had a good run through of it. The characters looked cool, but the Hell on Earth theme I was excited for, and it just didn't work. And I'm very sad that it didn't work. So, overall for 2017, it probably had my favorite trip to the event ever, which was closing night. It was just my favorite trip to the event. I got to experience the Chainsaw Chase Out, watching John. I got to talk with John. I got to be with a bunch of other HHN people. I got to meet a fan and hang out with said fan, one of my best friends throughout the night. It was well worth the trip back from Flagstaff for, but this year does not rank among my top year. But it is actually my second favorite year I've been to. And I know I'm going to get a lot of crap for that because a lot of people hated this year and they said it was alright. For me, this year ties with 2015. And it kind of feels the same. There's like one maze that's really stellar. Well, I'm sorry about that. It's my camera has a thing where it's set to only record 30 minutes of video and then it will stop. So maybe that's telling me to shut up and wrap it up. That's what I think is going on. So it's not my favorite year. It ties with 2015. It kind of feels the same as 2015. It's like one maze is really stellar. Some mazes are alright. One maze is just absolute crap. And I still love 2015. I love pretty much every year of the event. It was by no means one of the worst years. It was one of my favorite years. And I was not very impressed by the work John had to do, but I think everyone's critiquing this maze so hard, or this year so hard, just because he had to follow up the act he did with 2016. 2016 being one of the most phenomenal years of the event. My favorite year I've ever been through. But I think this year was pretty good. Let me know what you guys think about 2017 Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Please, as always, show your support. Like if you like it. Comment down below. Subscribe if you want to keep up with 2018 updating. Follow social media at HHMFan13 on Twitter, at Horror Nights Fan 13 on Instagram. You get a follow back on both of those just as a thank you for your support. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.